Yellowstone has returned to our screens this week with the opening episode of Season 5 Part 2, and it's safe to say that with it being announced that John Dutton III was dead, after that first episode, it's gonna be an eventful 6. With the trailer for the remainder of the season being released, I thought it'd be good to break down the trailer and also give my theories and predictions on what I think could happen next. So let's get into it. Here is Yellowstone Season 5 Episode 10 Trailer Explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The trailer for the next episode opened up with Sarah and Jamie looking at one another, and Sarah said, "You've won, Jamie. The kingdom is yours." This ties back to the lion analogy that she gave in episode 9. Sarah has obviously been playing Jamie like a pawn in the game ever since she started being intimate with him, and this was the endgame that she always wanted, more so than Jamie. John Dutton is now dead, and Jamie now has the ability to do the dirty work for market equities in getting the land that John Dutton put into a conservation removed, so that they can build on it. The funny thing is, the kingdom is anything but Jamie's. He's a sheep, and the other Duttons are the wolves, so he's gonna get found out soon enough. The next line in the trailer was then spoken by Jamie, as he said their only option is to sacrifice the ranch. This to me shows that he's going to put the family in a situation where they need to sell up. During Season 5 Part 1, we heard about how the ranch was struggling from a financial point of view, and with Jamie looking to remove the land from being listed as a conservation, Beth, Kayce and the Duttons might look to fight it, but in order to fight, they might need to sell the ranch in order to get the legal fees, which wouldn't make much sense to them. It's either that or they're going to be pushed out by market equities and they'll be forced to sell. After this, Kayce then said, "There's not much we can do about it. The whole world is watching." And Beth responded by saying, "There's not much you can do about it. You leave Jamie to me." This conversation occurred after Kayce looked at his father's dead body, most likely after it had been examined by the coroner and had an autopsy done on it. Beth was under the impression that Jamie was responsible for her father's death from the moment that she found him. So I feel like Beth is definitely going to go on the offensive with Jamie and look to uncover the truth from him, even if it means Jamie's life falling apart or even being killed. The next part of the trailer then showed Beth and Rip together in what looked like Texas, so I would imagine that this could well be a flashback to around 6 weeks before John Dutton's death, when she said that she was going to be going out there and visiting him. This to me shows us that this season of the show is going to be split between 2 different time periods, and we're going to have the build up to John's death and also the aftermath of John's death being explored. After this, we then saw that Rip was on the phone and he said the line, "We're in a real spot. Our heads are in the guillotine." I feel like this could be tying back to the very thing that Jamie mentioned about the ranch needing to be sold as their only option. Within the first episode, Rip's story was very much focused on preservation of the cowboy and how the progression of the world was taking away from the industry and lifestyle that he loved. So I feel like that could be what this conversation is about, potentially losing the ranch and needing to go on the offensive in order to hold on to it. We saw that he smashed his drink in the fireplace, and I'm imagining this is probably because of that situation, but also because he's going to be mourning John. We've seen him being strong for his wife Beth, but I think when he's alone, he's probably going to enter a state of reflection and miss his father-in-law. After this, we saw Monica saying, "You can't let this take him from us, Tate," and it was followed by Tate hugging his father. I think this is most probably going to be focused on the dynamic between Kayce and Monica changing. Kayce is going to get wrapped up in Beth's offensive world of going on the attack, and in turn, that's probably going to mean that Kayce is going to become unrecognizable and he'll be spending less time with his family. So Monica might be saying this to Tate because she feels it might be more effective coming from him. The next part of the trailer was then focused on Thomas Rainwater as he was at the Duttons' home. Rainwater said, "I'm available if you'd like help," to which Beth responded by saying, "In exchange for what?" This to me could be about 2 different things. The first is in investigating how Jamie could have been responsible, or the second could be with the legal fight that they're going to be having over losing their land to market equities. Beth's body language and tone of voice in this scene gave off the impression that she was on the cusp of giving up and that she felt as though she was losing the fight. So I'm imagining she's going to take all the help that she can possibly get. Considering both Kayce and Mo made a promise and committed to it with blood, the Duttons are going to be accepting the help that they were offered. Later on in the trailer, Beth called Sarah and said, "Are you having fun yet?" before Sarah then smashed her phone up. So I feel like Rainwater might have a hand in helping them out there. The next time we saw Kayce in the trailer, he said, "I can see you now. I know what to do." I'm imagining in this instance, he's not talking about what's going on with Jamie and his father's death, but instead, the trailer has just connected that conversation to the visuals. Judging by that scene, it looked like he was talking to Monica. This is due to where his eyes were looking and the dark hair in the corner. So I feel his and Monica's relationship is gonna hit the rocks in this season, which is something that will probably connect to the conversation that we heard Monica having with Tate in the car. However, the scene that was played over the top was of Kayce walking into Jamie's office and him throwing him over the desk and putting him in his place. This is a side to Kayce that we haven't seen in a long while, and with us seeing on the news broadcast that John's death was being looked into as a homicide, it feels like Kayce is going to shift his mind and actually start to believe that Jamie had something to do with it. There was also a clip that showed Jamie speaking with the police, and he said to them that he felt as though he was being treated like a suspect. With Kayce looking all shady with a black hoodie on, maybe we could see something being planted in Jamie's home, or he might be threatening him again. I actually think it's the latter, as in the final shot of the trailer we saw Kayce in the back of the car with the same hat on. And he said the line, "You should be scared. I know everything." This could be about what's going on with Sarah and the fact that she arranged for John to be killed, or it could be about the fact that he was responsible for his biological father's death. So it seems like secrets are definitely going to be coming out from the past. There was a clip that showed us Jamie sitting in his living room screaming whilst on the phone and then rushing to shred some documents, so the police were most definitely on their way to his. Jamie and Sarah's relationship is probably going to enter a frosty period because they're both going to be getting hunted by Beth and Kayce, and I don't think Jamie has the strength to deal with it. Beth said the line, "He'll ruin this family's name to save his own," and that was obviously most definitely about Jamie and the type of mindset that he has and why it would be that he had the motive of killing his father. Technically, Sarah was the person that was responsible for the death of John Dutton, but I think Jamie is most probably going to be the person that ends up with the fingers being pointed at him. It definitely looks like this season of the show is going to be an eventful one. Even though John Dutton is no longer around, the presence of him being gone is a cloud that looks set to hang over the ranch, and his legacy and impact is still continuing on with the division of the family and the fight that they have for preservation. All I can think about with this is, what would James and Margaret think? The family that was once a strong unit is tearing each other apart. Is that what led them to Montana? No. But hey, I suppose that was over 100 years ago. I'm hoping after next week we'll start to get specific trailers for the following episodes, and then it'll be more precise about what's on the horizon. So, there you have it, Yellowstone Season 5 Episode 10 Trailer Explained. If you want to see more videos on Yellowstone, then click on the card in the top corner. I've broken down the entirety of Season 5 and I've explained the Dutton family tree, which dates all the way back to 1883. What do you think will happen next? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, thanks for tuning into the video and I'll see you in the next one.